There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. See with new eyes, allow and unfold, embrace and let go, trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out. Slowly feel all that's around you. All that you feel, all that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. Yeah, when we unite. Oh, we unite. Yeah, yeah, when we unite. Yeah, yeah. You are welcome here. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. You are welcome here.
Good afternoon and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. Happy 2022. I am Reverend Cindy Grimes, and I am so glad that you have chosen to spend a little time with us this afternoon or whenever it is that you happen to be watching. Super excited for our conversation today. We're kicking off a new year, a whole new CSL Ocala. All of us that are part of this organization, that are part of this movement, I think we've all been in this moment of transition, and it's time for our coming out again, our coming out. So I'm really excited. My guests today are Donna Davis and Norma Anderson, who are the practitioners at our center, and we'll be bringing them in later. But for now, I want to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we value, because that's how you know whether you jive or you vibe with an organization or a person or a group, is if you share the same values. So these are the things that are important to us at Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. Number one is spiritual growth and practice. That is why we exist, and why we come together as an organization, as a community, is for that purpose. We value love, we value appreciation and community, freedom of expression, creativity in all its forms. We value health and wholeness and generosity and financial well being. And if these are things that are important to you and that you value, you may have found your spiritual home. You may have found your tribe. And so, our vision and mission at the Center for Spiritual Living, let's get that pulled up here. Our vision and mission at CSL Ocala. Here we go. We are a model center for spiritual living, as evidenced by the transformational impact we have on our own spiritual community, on the larger Centers for Spiritual Living organization, and the community at large, where we live in Ocala, Florida. And our mission is to empower individuals to awaken to the power and presence that lies within and all around them. So there's a couple of things that are important about that. To say that we are a model center for spiritual living. For those of you who are not aware, that Centers for Spiritual Living is an international organization. We are just one of over 300, 400 centers that are all over the United States and Canada and the rest of the world. And what makes us different from other traditions or denominations is the idea that we believe that power and presence that some people call God, people call it by different names, creator, for us, it doesn't matter what you call it, because it exists and we're part of it, whether we acknowledge it or believe it, or, just like gravity. And so we believe that power and presence is in and around everything. And there is nothing we have to do to be part of that. In fact, we can't not be part of it. So life works better when you understand that, when you understand the kind of the rules, I guess, of how things work. Like there's, as I said, gravity, things like that. When you understand how it works, life works better for you. So anyway, that's basically who we are. And today, it's the start of a new year, here, January 2nd. And I love New Year's. I love that idea of a new beginning. And we know that there are new beginnings all the time. It doesn't have to be because it's, January and a new year. But somehow, some way, this gives us that moment of reflection, to think about what has been in the past and what we might want to experience in the future. And so I'm just going to bring in my fellow practitioners here. We'll bring in Norma Anderson. Hey, Norma.
Hi,
And
Rev.
Donna. Hey, hi, ladies.
Guys,
I
hey,
love
what's
seeing
up?
your.
Happy New Year.
Thank
Happy
you.
2022.
Happy New
She
Year
dances to
indeed.
everything.
There's going to be a lot of dancing. There's a lot of dancing this year. I have taken
Yes,
that sacred oath. Yes, my body needs it.
I'm all for that. I'm all for
Mm-hmm,
that.
mm-hmm.
So, you know what I love when I look at the two of you on the screen today, that your background tells me that you are at home and in Ocala, and we're going to see each other later in person at the
Yay!
center.
I
So,
Hopefully for
know.
a while.
yes. So I want to
Mm-hmm.
extend the invitation to folks who are watching who might be in the area to come and join us this evening at 7 for our annual Burning Bowl ceremony.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
So we will be
It's
doing
gonna
that
be
today.
amazing.
Yeah. Well, you know how we like to start with an invocation always. And you
Mm-hmm.
up for that, Donna?
Yes, I'm up for it.
All
I'm
right.
always up for dropping in.
All right, cool. Well, let's remove myself and Norma from the picture here and let you do your thing. All right.
Wrong way.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this Sunday fun day. So, right now, I'm going to invite you to drop in with me into that space that is the all knowingness. It's not like Cindy said earlier, you can't not be in it, but Right now, we're going to draw our attention and awareness to that which is already existing. That's what we're going to do with this spiritual mind treatment, okay? All right, here we go. Take a deep breath in with me. And another breath. I recognize the oneness that is all around me. Life energy that exists in and around and through all things. It exists in the seat that I sit in. It exists in the air that is around me. It exists in the room that I'm sitting in. It exists in the soil outside in the garden. Life is happening all around me. And as my very heart beats right now, I know that life is happening inside of me as well, being driven by some invisible force that exists within me and all around me and outside of me and in my town and in my country and my world and my galaxy. And I call that thing that is everything, that is all things. I call that God. It is the easiest name for me to call to my existence. So I call it God, but I know that others call it different names. The allness, the oneness, life force, energy, Allah, Yahweh, Goddess. And I know that because this thing exists everywhere and exists right where I sit, I know it also exists right where you sit. It is from that sense of awareness that we call to our expression, the way that we express as Centers for Spiritual Living Ocala, the way that we connect as Centers for Spiritual Living Ocala, the way that we express ourselves out in our community, out in our world, and beyond, the way we connect with other Centers for Spiritual Living, the way we connect with other spiritual centers, churches, synagogues, everyone that we connect to, that connects to that spiritual center within themselves. I know that we are all in this world together. We are all existing together. We are all rising together. We are all a part of the oneness. And I speak my word knowing that the divine idea that is CSL Ocala is coming to fruition. It is unfolding. It is blossoming through the works of all who have put hands in the soil before this very moment. And all who continue to show up every single day with their energy, every single day, with their money every day, with their time, with their talents. All the people who have put their breath into that space, that now we are coming forward and blossoming in this new year, 2022, stepping forward, unfolding as others become aware of our presence and we become that space of love and acceptance and oneness and wholeness, and creating that world that works for everyone. I'm so grateful for knowing that all of this is done. And I release it into the law. And so it is. Amen. Ashe.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Always. Yeah. So we jump in.
We jump in.
That
All feet and arms
right?
and everything.
Yeah.
My everything jumps in.
100%. 100%. Love it. That divine idea that is CSL Ocala. Yes. Yeah. So maybe we should start with Like your process, I know what my process since I've come into New Thought, and especially since we've been doing this kind of burning bowl thing every year, is
Mhm.
that thing of letting go, and the ceremony, the ritual of putting that thing in the fire and watching it go away, and then having that open slate.
Mhm.
I love that. And, we've been in that process pretty much of doing that for the center for a few months now, as we've been contemplating this I'm not going to call it a relaunch. We're not calling it that because we're not going back to anything, right?
Mhm.
It's this moving forward, this
The
transformational.
divine idea unfolding
Yes,
in
yes.
using the lessons that were learned through the hands of those that gave,
Yeah.
you know?
So tell me, what do you do? What's your thing for New Year's Eve, New Year's Day? Do you have that, or are you just doing what we do here at the center with our process with the burning bowl?
I like.
Essentially, well, we did the same thing with some friends for New Year's Eve. Go ahead, babe. Talk.
Well, I like the thing that we do here at CSL because it the whole what is it that everyone does, the New Year's Eve resolution,
Yeah.
that has never resonated with me. Um, so the whole releasing of the past and calling in what it is that you see for yourself for the year works. It resonates more with me because you know resolutions. I don't know. That just sounds so fake. It's like an official document that you'll never read again. And it just never worked for me. So yeah, just
Mhm.
calling in what's to be mine. That's more
Mhm.
that's more along the lines of the way my mind works.
Yeah. And I like the ceremony of it all.
Hmm.
So for New Year's Eve, we did get with some people on actual New Year's Eve and did the countdown with them and did the same kind of experience where it was writing down the stuff that we were letting go of and burning. And so I thought, we're going to do a burning bowl this evening. Can I do that again? And I was like, there were some things that did not make themselves known for me until
Mm,
ta-da, today. So guess what? They're going to go in the fire again. So I invite people to do it over and over again because sometimes stuff's, it's not just New Year's Eve that you can do
right.
it, just over and over and over again.
Yeah. This is just like, it's just a reminder, right? Because every moment is a new moment. Every day is a new
Mm-hmm.
day. So we
Mm-hmm.
can do this kind of process for ourselves every day, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
like you brush
Yes.
your teeth before you go
Yeah.
to bed at night. I've been taking it my own practice of just going through the day and kind of mining for the gems, the gold of the day. What was great, what wasn't so great, release myself, forgive myself for whatever I didn't do well, or and then appreciate, give gratitude for the things that went well, and try to go to sleep in a good frame of mind, so
Mm-hmm.
that it helps that positive manifestation. So really is something we can do anytime.
Yeah. And it's nice to do it in community though, because sometimes you don't realize where your blind spots are until somebody says something and it triggers this little creepy crawly thing inside of you that says, hey, maybe I should pay attention to what that is.
Yeah.
That might be a blind spot. Like, ooh, that's why I keep having this experience over and over again. Aha, there you are. And you can root it out. But you have to become self aware. And that's why actually thinking about it and writing it down.
Yeah.
I like that.
And what you
As
said,
opposed to
Donna.
just
Hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
saying, oh well, I'm gonna make a resolution.
Hmm.
Like Norma said.
Yeah. Yeah. And a couple of other people. Aaron in the chat, I resolved many years ago to never make another resolution.
I've successfully kept it to this day.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
go,
And
girl.
Richard, too. Here's Richard. I haven't made any New Year's resolutions, but pretty sure I broke them anyway.
Yeah.
So,
I just look at
we just,
it like a new slate is what now
Mhm.
I'm starting to look at New Year's as wow, we have this brand new slate of endless possibilities and roadblocks that hey, I learned back then.
Right.
If I'm careful and if I had paid attention to the lesson, I learned it so I can avoid it this time. And then every
Yes.
year it's like that.
Yeah.
And then the older I
And there's
get, the
always
quicker the
there's
darn year is going. I'm like, what?
and there's always something special about the writing down of intentions. You
Mm-hmm.
can have things floating around your head, or you can even say them. But if you actually take the effort to write them down, that brings your full attention to it. And then when you throw it into the fire, it just goes up to the ethers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's
Love
see.
By the
that.
Aaron
power of
made
the
another.
fire.
Oh man, because
Aaron
you
made
can't bring
another.
it back.
Right. And would you want to even?
There's some people who do want to now. Let's talk about that.
But that's why you can do the ritual again.
You'd be like, oh, darn, it's gone, But
Yeah.
I think it was Eddie Watkins Jr. The first time I heard this, when it said that don't dig it back up to see if it's growing. So you plant this thing and then you keep digging it up to say, hey, are you growing?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, are you growing?
Right.
So if you planted
You
it
wrote a whole song about
and
it.
you have the trust, and you have the whole trust there, then just let it go. Plant it and let it go.
Yeah.
Of
Or
course,
release it and really let it go. Maybe you
and
didn't want to
really let
plant
it
that
go.
thing, but like just
Right.
let it go for real. Somebody's asking if the bowl burning will be virtual tonight. We are. I believe we're going to go ahead and record it, so people will get to see that tonight. It starts at 7 this evening. And Aaron made another comment. I made myself a solemn promise to treat myself with loving kindness, and that promise has nothing to do with New Year's. Absolutely, that's what we're saying.
Absolutely. Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, so back to like specifically CSL Ocala. I mean, people are going to do this. We get to do this on an individual basis, right, for ourselves, that
Mm-hmm.
assessing what lessons we learned and what we want to bring from the past into the future, what we want to let go of. But then collectively, that's another experience. And as I said, we kind of have been in the midst of that process for a couple of months, at least a few months, with the center.
Mm-hmm.
And I want people to know what that has been, because we're coming back in a different way. It's not going to be what CSL Ocala was in the past. I think there was some really great things about that, but there were some things that didn't work. And there
Mm-hmm.
are some things with respect to the pandemic, for example, and the things that we've learned through this experience, that we've been really looking at intentionally. How do we come back as a community?
Mm-hmm.
So just to let people in on this process that we did, the SWOT analysis. Remember that? And it
Mm-hmm.
stands for in business: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Where we pulled all of those things together. I know we didn't use the word threat because I didn't like that, but I don't remember what I used instead.
I don't remember. We did so much stuff. We did Skunkworks. That was before Skunkworks.
That was
Oh,
part of that project.
that was part
So
of the
so the
project.
first
Yes.
thing we did was like put down all of the strengths of this center, of this community, of this ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Remember that. So all of the things
Yes.
that were working really well. And as I remember, the number one thing was the fact that we have this amazing teaching, this
Yes.
philosophy. Right? That's one of the
Yes.
strengths that I
Oh
remember.
man, absolutely. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And then
Mm.
another strength that I remember speaking about is really the strength of our leadership team.
Our leadership team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. The fact that we've got people who are so committed, and, committed in every way, committed in giving their time, committed in their talent, committed in giving their money, and,
Mm-hmm.
being there. And you too,
Mm-hmm.
really, you're such a perfect example of that, because with all the traveling and all the drama and all the stuff that has happened throughout this pandemic, that you've been tuning in from New York City, from the beach, from the hospital, from like everywhere. And there you are,
Georgia.
from Georgia.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, so many different places. So like kudos to
Yeah. Yeah. It was so much fun though. I thought this is so much fun to kind of show people what we're doing, because it's spiritual teaching, we're not we it's not just in the building on a Sunday. It's always happening.
Yeah.
And how better to show it than to actually do it.
Yeah.
Even when you don't have makeup on, you don't look cute. Some of those Zoom calls are awesome because I'm like, yo, I'm in my robe, man. Oh boy.
Yeah. Joe, do you
But
remember
Excuse me,
anything else that we said as our strengths? I think those are the main things.
and we have
Did you want to?
volunteers, our
Yeah.
volunteers too. That was
Yeah. I
another
mean,
strength. But our
everybody has.
volunteers were all like leadership,
Yes.
volunteers. Those were holding strong because, man, it was, yeah,
Yeah.
brutal.
And a lot of centers didn't make it.
Mhm.
A lot of
Yeah.
centers did not make it. So that was a strength also, that we were able to have the flexibility to move
Mhm.
online and at least have this forum for meeting, even if it didn't suit everybody,
Mhm.
right? Like the
Yeah.
people that don't do, digital stuff.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
didn't suit a lot of those folks. So, we'll see who comes back tonight. So that was the strengths part. And then the weaknesses.
Mm. The the idea, that old story that we were broken
Yeah.
toys. We were
Yeah.
holding on to that brokenness.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know, for people maybe that have not been to the center in person or don't know, if you want to, either of you want to elaborate on that, but or I'll elaborate a little bit, and if you want to throw anything else in, but the idea that because we're not traditional, right? We're not traditional Christian, we don't want to be that church. Um, I think we attract people who are a little different, people who maybe have some eccentricities or people who are out of the box or, and I put myself in that category as well. And I think there's something that comes with that when you feel like you're different, feeling like an outsider or like not good enough, or like you said, the misfit toys, or that we're
Mhm.
somehow broken. And I think our center kind of carried that a little bit,
Mhm.
like we're some
Yeah.
little hippie church or,
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah,
Instead of the fact that we have broken through the void and we have made it on the other side and have looked at the systems around us and said, that system doesn't work for everyone. Let
yeah,
us create something that works for everyone, that
yeah,
can work in conjunction with their stuff. And look at this. Ernest Holmes already thought about it and was creating. And
yeah,
we just said, okay. So we're creating this world that works for everyone. And it's a feeling of wholeness that comes with that. That says, whoa, it's not a misfit toy thing. It's just that this toy started seeing outside the box.
yeah,
That's all.
And it's not that premise of the traditional churches where everyone is welcome so we can change you to look like us. That's not at
mm,
all what we're about. And I think,
Mm-mm.
that's why the people that have found our center find a place where they can be their authentic self and still explore their spirituality on their path.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
that's what I think is so great about the center.
Mm-hmm.
well,
Because the principles and the tools works for everyone, no matter what your background is, no matter what your family lineage is, no matter what your pain is. It works if you are willing to actually use the tools.
yeah. So I think we have evolved. The center is evolving, just like we evolve as individuals. I
Mm-hmm.
think the center has evolved as well. And we had to go through, or we went through that period of feeling like the misfit toy kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like the opportunity, right? Moving into the opportunity of seeing it as a strength and
Mm.
saying, yeah, you
Yes.
know what? Yeah, I have felt broken because I've been through some shit. Let's just be real. And how
Mm-hmm.
many, I think I have to believe that's a universal thing, that everybody has their pain and their drama, and somehow in their heart of hearts feel like, they're not quite as good, or they're somehow broken. And I think the difference between us and them is that we just claim it. Like,
Yeah.
yes, yes. True
Yes. Some
story.
stuff
Yes.
happened.
Hmm.
Yeah. Some stuff happened, but you know what? What happened was some experiences happened.
Hmm.
And I have learned some lessons as a result of those experiences. And so here we are. I'm
Right.
evolving, honey.
There you go. And we're on the other side of it. Like, like
And
Angel
that's
said,
why I
like the
said
butterfly.
it. Yep. And it's not even like before we were like in the fog of it all, until we started putting the pieces together. And as a human race, we're doing that now, going, wait a minute, it's the experiences. We can make different choices as a race and
Yeah.
create this world. And so we started to say, oh, let's do it. And
Right.
as a result, a hybrid program happened where we have
Yeah.
this
So
online
this,
platform.
hmm
We have this online platform, which is awesome. I like this platform too, Cindy. And I
yeah.
also like the in-person platform. So it's kind of cool. And you get to mix it up.
So that speaks to the opportunity that's in front of us,
Mm-hmm.
right? The
Mm-hmm.
opportunities. I mean, we have now sometimes when I go back and look at the recordings and we've got, like 175, 200 views for a talk, we couldn't fit 50 people. I mean, we couldn't fit
Yeah.
150 people in our sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that we're reaching a larger audience has been a tremendous opportunity for us.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other
And
And I
actually,
like,
opportunities?
some of that larger community has actually been tied into the center. So, that helps also because, they may not be able to come to our business building physically, but they are reaping the benefit of the message and feel the
mm-hmm.
call to, to help it keep going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's been wonderful.
And being on the New Thought Network, that's really quite lovely. I like that.
Yeah. So now the opportunities, right? New Thought Media, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which
Mm-hmm.
we're broadcasting now through New Thought, and there, I think
So
it's
hi in New Thought World.
also, yes, hello, and thank you to New Thought Media, network for picking us up and helping us get the message out in a bigger way of
Mm-hmm.
what we're about and
Mm-hmm.
what's possible. Um, Another opportunity, we say in our vision statement that we are a model center for spiritual living.
Mm-hmm.
And we said it, we wrote it, but we never really said, like, what does that mean, to be a model center for spiritual living. And I feel like this process, well, not the process, but what we've been through with the pandemic and how we've been adapting and changing has also been a great opportunity. So
Yeah.
what is a model center for spiritual living? I'm still not sure, but
We are.
we are, right? We're meeting in person, we're meeting online.
Mm-hmm.
We have a pretty cool outreach. It's not a
Yes.
direct, but when we, talking about Circle Up, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this is an opportunity for us to keep exploring those things and grow them, and maybe even help other centers that
Mm-hmm.
may be in the same situation that we're in, where we're small, you know, uh,
Mm-hmm.
we're self-supporting.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of is getting into the threats now, a little bit of the the challenges that we have
Mm-hmm.
at the
Mm-hmm.
center. But I think I know, actually I know now. I didn't know before the pandemic, but I know now that we are just like a microcosm of the macrocosm.
Yes.
The
Yes.
challenges that we have as a center, that we have had as a center, really are not that much different than other centers or other churches in general.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think spiritual communities are having a tough time transitioning
Mm-hmm.
to what does it look like to offer spiritual community in a pandemic in the 21st century. What does that
To
look like?
people, to people who don't connect to anything or may connect to multiple things, the world is changing around us, and the thing is that if we do not adapt and change, then we are not going to. It's not going to happen.
Hmm.
And when you have people who are saying, you know what, I do want to dive into some kind of spirituality, and here we are giving them options, you know, and that's what it's about, because some people don't like the traditional thing.
Hmm.
And I am so glad that I found this option, because I remember thinking I loved the part that was going to church on a Sunday and singing and dancing and hugging people. I like that part of church that I grew up with. But I also like the sitting down and deep discussions and da 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 da. I like that too, of like conferences and retreats. I love that. And we
Hmm.
get to do that too. And then I like the parties where you celebrate together and you feel like you're part of a tribe, you
Yeah.
know? And we're doing all of that. And then people are spinning off and using this teaching within their lives. And some of them have businesses that they run this teaching through, like Your Phoenix is Rising, like Circle Up, that's out there doing things, like we connect with Aura Clubhouse. That's one of our people there, you know, and just dropping a little bit of hope and love into the community, you know?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
we have an opportunity to, this is the SWOT analysis, right? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities. Um, COVID and the pandemic has given us an opportunity to regroup,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And really look at what are the important things about spiritual community. What are the things that we want to bring forward from the past, and
Hmm.
what do we want to let go of?
Right.
And so, this is just my opinion. Okay, I think that people can watch a phenomenal talk from anywhere. I mean, I just, I listen to podcasts. I was listening to Oprah from like 10 years ago, a little while ago.
Hmm.
You can listen from your pajamas in your bed, at 2 o'clock in the morning, whenever we have the capacity to tap into the brightest, best minds that there are,
Hmm.
so we can watch those folks. But there's the piece that has been missing, I think, for people is that coming together in person and that feeling of
Hmm.
community. And I think people value that even more than they value a message. Now, I could be wrong. I want to just see, whoever's watching, if they want to weigh in on that. But I think providing opportunities for people to gather and actually be involved is
Hmm.
really an important aspect of spiritual community.
Yeah, it is. But it's the connecting to the other people. That's
Mhm.
another part of it. Because then we have to be careful not to forget that the people who are in leadership that people are coming to get that message from are also people,
Mhm.
having to navigate life and having to do things. And we somehow start to put our spiritual leaders on this little pedestal that says that, okay, this is their life and that's how it works for them because they're a minister, because they're a practitioner. So I can't possibly potentially tap in. We're all students of this teaching, all of us.
Yeah.
Some just dove deeper than others into it. That's all. But the
Yeah.
opportunity is there for everyone to do that. And
Yeah.
that's what I love about this new idea of the circles, where all of us are sitting at the table together. And it's not just you here, Cindy, then us, then this, then that.
Yeah. So
Because
And the
thank
that
you
thing
for
doesn't
is,
bringing
work.
that up.
And the
Go
thing
ahead.
is, we have been connecting outside of the center, through this pandemic and what have you. And I still get calls from people. Is the center doing anything, for Christmas? Is the center doing anything for New Year's? And I try to tell them you have to connect directly with the center and get on the email list and let them, get in the path of everything that
Yes.
we're doing. So because we're putting
Hmm.
the stuff out there for people to join us, but if they're
Hmm.
not connecting, they're gonna miss it.
Right.
So that I want to encourage everybody to do that.
So let's make sure people know to sign up for the newsletter, to go on and like
Yes.
the page on Facebook, and that way they'll be in the loop of the things that are
Hmm.
that are
It's
happening.
also on YouTube. We also
Mhm.
have a link on YouTube. So you can just look up Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. It'll pop up.
Yeah.
And there's
And
meetups.
And
and
meetups.
plus
Yeah.
we have meetups,
Yeah.
and of course the website. We have really been trying to polish our face out there so that we can be visible, so that people can find us, so that people can know that we exist in our community. For
Yeah.
those who are looking for spiritual teachings that's outside the norm and what's available, we are now available to people so that they can come and connect with really cool people from different backgrounds, who is the microcosm of that macrocosm,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
And we'll be offering classes and things online as
Hmm.
well. I think this has just expanded, our horizons. But I want to say, because you brought up a point of what wasn't working for me on a personal level, was the idea I think that we have from traditional church, that there is a minister, a preacher, or whatever, who stands in front on the pulpit and feeds the congregation, and and people, they're spiritually fed, and they and they go on their way. And so many people come to us when they're in pain, and they get the teaching, like, turns on, those light bulbs go off, they have their epiphanies, and life starts to change, and it's working, and like, I don't need that spiritual center, and then they're gone you know
Mhm.
and so I was feeling like, number one, I don't like the hierarchy anyway, because although this has been my life study and it's my work, I'm like everybody else. I'm on the path like everybody. I have my issues and my stuff that I'm working through. And I don't like that hierarchy. Like, there's ministers and practitioners, and then there's lay people. To me, I love the circle idea that we're all one and that we're all on the path. And I want to be in community with people who are as committed to their spiritual growth as I'm committed to my own and to theirs.
Yes.
So we're inviting, as we come back together, a different mindset, in that you're not just coming to be fed. Okay, you're coming to
Yeah.
help, serve some meals here, maybe. And it's a potluck,
Yeah.
y'all. I'm not here to just feed you. We all have something to bring to this
Hmm.
party here.
Absolutely, because we all come from it from different angles, and I think that that's the thing. It's like, yes, you have somebody who makes it their life study to dive into it and pull it apart, but you also have others who are like also pulling stuff apart, and as they're bringing their experiences into the mix, then it makes one full meal for everybody,
Yeah,
and that's how it creates that world that works for everyone. I'm gonna keep saying it over and over again.
I love it. Yes, I love it. So, yeah, opportunities. So what we're looking at is creating programs and opportunities for gathering. Every week there'll
Hmm.
be something that's going on, but it's not necessarily going to be Sunday morning, and
Hmm.
it's not going to be me standing in the room talking, feeding people in the traditional way. It's going to
Yeah.
be an invitation for people to be involved.
Hmm.
Right. So, like, tonight is the bowl burning. So, that's spiritual practices. The first week is always going to be some kind of spiritual practice.
Hmm.
So, when we're doing meditation, we're not just talking about meditation, we're going to actually teach people how to do it, more like a workshop atmosphere.
Hmm.
Right.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then the second Sunday will be a more traditional kind of a gathering where I'm doing a
Hmm.
talk. And then the third Sunday, we're going to gather and have circle discussions about whatever the topic is.
Yeah. So
So,
maybe a continuation of what we're doing here.
yeah,
The
exactly.
topic that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Instead of
We'll
having
broaden
our
the circle.
Zoom,
Hmm.
we have our circle in person.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe pipe in the Zoom people
Yeah, that we can do
along with the
that.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that.
That would be fun, right?
Yeah.
And that's great because
And
people learn and they soak things in different ways. So this gives
Hmm.
different modalities for, everyone to, be able to let it sink in for them. Some people like to just sit and listen and take and be fed, and they'll get that once a month. And other people are better if it's a conversation. Some people are tactile and need to do things with their hands. So we're going to kind of mix it all up and have a little bit of everything.
yeah.
Hmm.
And then the
Hmm.
fourth Sunday, because Deb put it in the chat there, first week is practice, second week is traditional celebration, third week is circle, and then fourth week is going to be something for people who maybe don't really want to speak or get involved, that they'll have an opportunity to observe, and that's to be the audience in a concert, or singing bowls, or maybe it's we bring in a guest speaker and have a discussion, or we do a movie night. So
Hmm.
there be opportunities that speak to different people's ways of learning, and their modalities. I see it
So
as
you know what
immersive.
this means? So you know what this means for the whole year? It means that you have to stay plugged in, or you might miss something.
Yes.
Just saying.
Yeah, and for people to send in their suggestions, like, what kind of things
Hmm.
you want to see. And of course, the umbrella over all of it is this teaching of the science of mind, what we have in Centers for Spiritual Living.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
I see it as an immersive, a
Mm-hmm.
more immersive kind of thing. And then, of course, there's going to be the circles. Yeah,
Yes.
Deb's got it there. Poetry
The circles.
slams, art shows, open mic, karaoke, battle of the bands, all kinds of stuff will be that last week. And then when there's
Mm-hmm.
a fifth Sunday, we'll have a gathering that's just kind of like the state of the center,
This is
what's
where we
going on.
are, and this is what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, wow, we've been on for a little bit now, but we got to do the last letter, right? SWAT.
Okay. So
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats,
that's
which I think we call challenges, maybe. But
challenges, maybe.
yeah.
All right. So the biggest challenge for me, honestly, is that feeling of, oh, we're this intimate little tiny thing, and we just all know each other, and we all love each other. And so, in order to be a part of us, you have to be invited in. And, it's that feeling like we're some kind of secret in this town.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a little bit of, oh my God, I don't want to be judged,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So that's why sometimes it's hard for us to proselytize, to tell people about the center. Because then when people ask you, what church do you go to? So now when people talk about church, I speak love into whomever I'm speaking to. And then I'll say, oh, yes, in my center on Sunday. Oh, BTW is Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. Duh.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk about it. And it's no longer a secret. And we're no longer this little intimate thing that we keep to ourselves.
Yeah.
That was my
One of
biggest challenge.
Mm-hmm.
the biggest challenge that I saw for the center and myself, because it directly affected me, because of our size, we want to do so many different things and have all these different circles that want to implement these projects and things that we want happening, but we don't have the people to man all these projects. So sometimes being small and intimate is great when you get to know everybody and what have you, but we need to grow in order to be able to accomplish everything that we want to do as a center.
Yeah.
Which means we need to invite people.
Mm-hmm. I see us taking a page from the playbook of, the Christian megachurches.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've learned is that those churches grow really as small groups, because when people come in, they get put into a small group, either that meets in someone's home or they have some common interest or something like that. So people get the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to be part of a small group. You can't hide in a group of 10 people. And those
Mm-hmm.
10 people can really support one another and look out for one another. And if they have the same interests, let's say, for example, we have our grow team is the people that love being outdoors and gardening and, want to know about the organic farms in Ocala, like that group of people. So, you get 10 people and they can hang out together and do field trips and, meet in one another's homes or whatever it is that they decide to do, but they'll have that tight connection. And then we have the bigger group gathering, a few
Mm-hmm.
times a month. So it
Yeah.
kind of feeds both of those things, like your need for intimacy, but also the need for the big energy and the praise
Yeah.
and worship
Yeah.
that we love.
Yeah. And so that's why I'm so happy that we have your Phoenix is Rising. And we are the wellness group. We are the nurses and the massage therapists and the people who are all about taking care of your wellness, your mind, body, and spirit wellness. And
Yes.
we are just so happy to be of service to everyone.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
that's a circle that already exists. We have our
Mhm.
music circle, we've got
Mhm.
a lot of circles that are already in place, but we're doing right now the structures I think that we have needed to have in place to bring people in smoothly and be able to plug them where they need to go, so we can accommodate the growth that I believe is coming.
Absolutely.
And Angel says,
Absolutely.
can't wait to create. Yeah. The other threat, the other big threat, and just, to be real about where we have been is the financial situation
Oh
that
yeah.
we've been in, and the fact that we have a building that was in Florida, it's considered very old to have, essentially a house that was built in the 1970s
Hmm.
and needs lots and lots of repair. And, as our numbers dwindled, so did the money coming in. So, and that has been, I mean, that's a continual challenge, a continual threat.
Hmm.
Um, but the fact is, if that doesn't change in a major way, we may not even, be able to continue as a center. And that's a reality that we actually looked at, explored, and considered. So I want people to understand that too. That one of the
Mm.
options on the table was, okay, sell the building,
Hmm.
right? And that means the money goes back to home office, or we turn it into some other kind of ministry, as CSL Ocala. I don't know what that looks like, but basically, we're giving it our all to kick this off in a big way, in a
Hmm.
new way, and
Yes.
hopefully, it's going to meet the needs of our spiritual community and the people that are interested and invested.
Hmm. Yes, absolutely. And the thing of it is though that when people understand like and start to use the spiritual teachings, it then fuels back into the spiritual center. So there's not this feeling of obligation or anything like that. And that's why we want to take that away from people so they understand that when we say to them, your spiritual home it's like we all have a little tiny share in the property that's over there. And
Right.
so it's like we have an extended home that we have to now take care of. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
And so my extended home, I think about how much my mortgage is. I think about how much my electricity is. Oh gosh, AC, something breaks and blah, blah, blah. Now we got to hire somebody. It's the same exact thing. And so once you start to think of it that way and take ownership, then it becomes this joy to do. And what's awesome is I have this second home and I get to share it with other people that, I don't know, love the second home like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And it's
that's the,
so wonderful.
that's why you all are leaders, and that's why the people who are who are heading up our circles and who are on our leadership council and all of our leadership team are people that love the center, that see it
Hmm.
as their second home, and know
Hmm.
that when newcomers are coming in, it's like, I'm inviting you into my space, and I want you to feel safe, and I want you to feel the joy and the peace and the healing that happens here.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we all take ownership for that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Not just the person who stands in front of the room, that
Exactly. Exactly.
it's
So
all.
when someone connects and somebody comes in, make friends.
Hmm.
Make friends. Sometimes people are just in so much pain that just your voice speaking some other kind of truth to them, because the only truth they know is the stuff that's out there. And it's
Yeah.
painful. We've all seen it. I know I've had to work in COVID land.
Yeah. Well, that's what all of last year was about. I think, the Revolutionary Love project that we did
Yes.
was really about learning how to be that safe, healing space for people, and to seek it out
Hmm.
as well. Like, we can be that for other people, but to understand that we need it as well.
Exactly.
When I'm having a moment, I know who I can pick up the phone and talk to.
And in order to do
Absolutely.
that,
And
you have to not just make the friend, you need to exchange contact information. Because a lot of
Hmm.
times when there's
yes.
things happening, you're like, oh, I would love for Terry to come, but nobody knows how to get into contact with her.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That kind of stuff. So it's always great to
Yeah.
exchange a number, an email.
Yeah.
Hmm. We can all be leaders. And that's what I love, Cindy, is that you're talking about us all growing and developing as leaders in the community, as leaders of our family, as leaders of ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stepping into that being that says that, hey, I have control of this thing and I know exactly how I can bring it to life.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that, because that's how I've always wanted it to be. That's how I've always seen it. Like, it's not me up
Mhm.
here and other people down here, is that we're all out there in the world doing our thing. And that CSL Ocala is that home base. So if you're a teacher, you're a nurse, you're a police officer, you're whatever, you're out there in the world doing your thing. And sometimes you get knocked around a little bit. Sometimes you go through it, and then you're back home, and you have that safe sanctuary space where you can breathe and be yourself and be rejuvenated,
Mhm.
and then go
And let
back
me
out in
just
the
tell
world,
you,
right?
and while you're out there, here we are supporting you. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, I know that my dog groomer goes to our center. Hello. She's gonna infuse that love and the teaching and all of that into my little baby, which makes me so happy.
yes,
I support that. And if a painter is painting a house, if I need my house painted, guess who I'm using? Someone who goes to my center, someone who's using this teaching, so that as they're painting my house, they are bringing to life the love and the joy that is that job. That's what I want. And now I'm supporting their livelihood.
yeah.
So
Amen.
we do this, supporting each other. That's what our center is about. And that's what I love about CSL Ocala. We do this.
That's it. We are in this moment creating the
Yeah.
beloved community. That's
Yes.
it right there. Creating the beloved community.
Yes.
Yes. Transformation, creating the beloved community. Well,
Mhm.
my dears, our time is fleeting. We could talk for hours, but we're
For
coming back
hours.
this evening.
It's okay. We'll talk later, child. We're
We'll
gonna
talk
be together.
again. There'll be next week and the week after
We're
that.
no, we're gonna be in person tonight. We're gonna
Oh,
be able to
tonight,
talk
yes,
tonight.
absolutely,
Yes, child. And if
absolutely.
you want to be in on the conversation, you got to come tonight. That's the way it is.
There
But
you
if you
go.
don't feel well, I'm so sorry. Let us send you love. Send us your name so we can put you in the prayer chest. But please, please do not come. I love you.
Yes, 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 yes. If you're not well, and we're going to do everything we can.
Yeah.
We can't. We're not going to force people to wear masks or to do things, but we're going to set up the room so there's places where people have a little more distance. There's places where people can sit closer together. We're going to encourage people to wear masks. And of course, if you're sick or have any symptoms, just we'll be live streaming so people can watch at home and participate in that
Yes.
way.
Yes.
So, and as Richard put in the chat for us here, there's no Zoom discussion today afterward. It's just this conversation today, and then our 7 o'clock this evening. And then next week, we're meeting in person. We're meeting
Yes.
in person, the more traditional Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. So people are welcome to come for that. And of course, that will be streamed as well.
But we'll still have the 3 o'clock this next
Yes.
week at 3.
Yeah, we're going to
Mhm.
keep this up. I think what I'd like to do, because there's so many, the whole organization, at least those who choose to, are going to be doing the theme for the year, which is Everyday
Mhm.
Wonder.
Mhm.
And I want to use this time to do practical peace building,
Mm. Yeah.
our outreach work, and really, like do that deep dive into that program so that people can facilitate peace in their own lives, right? That's
Absolutely.
the idea, right? To know how to work through their conflicts and lean in when they need to and whatnot.
Yes.
So
Oh man, I
yeah,
love it. I love it.
so
Oh,
exciting.
this is so awesome. Wow.
I love you, ladies. Thank you so
Love
much.
you too.
And I
Thank
look
you
forward to
too.
seeing you later.
Yes. Can't wait to see y'all.
Yes, yes. And thanks to everybody who tuned in today. I think we'll go ahead and do our blessing and start to pray out, and then we'll see you again at 7.
Okay. All right.
All right. Love you, ladies.
Love
Thank
you.
you.
Love you too, Rev.
So, all right, it's time for to do our offering. Yes, thank you to our producer who's helping us behind the scenes there. As we mentioned, during the broadcast, we have some things we need to take care of here at the center, and so we just appreciate any offerings that you can give. We've made it really easy for people to be able to give to the center, and and know that, as you, what you give, it's like putting the seed in the ground, right? It's you put the seed in and it grows and it multiplies. And so that's what happens when you give. Whether you give to the center or you give to some other charity, you need to give somewhere. That's part of that give and take. And it's just life. It's, when we hold tight to things, when we hoard, we stop the circulation. And if the water is not moving, if water is not circulating, it stagnates. And it's the same thing energetically that happens. If you're not giving, then you're stagnating. So do give somewhere. I hope that you give where you're spiritually fed, and I hope that you're fed at CSL Ocala. And you can donate to the center through our website at cslocala.org/donate. Or there's this thing we can do, text to tithe. If you can text from your phone, what you do is program in that number, call that number. And once you do it the first time, you text that number 352-320-5110. You put in the amount that you would like to donate, and it goes right from your account to ours, and it's super easy, and we keep track of it all, and we'll let you know, quarterly. I think we're working on, if not certainly by the end of the year, what your donation has been, so you can put it on your taxes. So anyway, sharing our gifts, and this is a beautiful affirmation that was written by a minister who made her transition some years ago, Reverend Gail Reuter, who was part of our center. And I love it, so we just keep using it, and I honor Reverend Gail today as I repeat these words. It is the nature of life to give of itself. As it is the tree's nature to bear fruit and the flower's nature to bloom, it is my nature to share the gifts of my time, talent, and treasure. I participate in the divine flow of life, giving generously and receiving abundantly. I am blessed and I am a blessing. I am so very grateful. That's the truth. Let's see if we have any other comments before I close out. I think you got most of the announcements during the conversation today. Let's see. Thank you, Rosemary. Thank you, Reverend Mary Ellen, and everybody else. Angel, Deb, Aaron, everybody who commented. If you'd like to speak with any of us, if you're not in our vicinity, hopefully there's a Center for Spiritual Living near you, or you can always just reach out. Just give us a call, and myself or one of our practitioners be glad to have a conversation with you. So I think that's about it then. I guess we're ready to close out. So we take another deep breath, and this is a prayer for protection that comes from James Dillett Freeman and our sister community at Unity. I just love this prayer because it's so simple and it says everything that it needs to say. And so I share this with you, and again, make it your own. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. I just affirm that that is the absolute truth for you, and that as you go into your week, that any challenges you may be facing turn into stepping stones to your greater yet to be. I just pray for peace and prosperity and love and joy for you and all of your loved ones as we move forward into this brand new baby year. So happy New Year to you. And I hope to see some of you at our, Burning Bowl ceremony later this evening. Love and blessings.